and welcome back to the RLO Master Division. It's great to be here again. Week 2 starting up. Week 1 had some surprising results, and expecting no less today. Here with Son of Jupiter. How you going, man?
Yeah, doing really good. Really excited to be here for week 2. Some big upsets happened last week, which makes this week a little bit more interesting because it means that I'm expecting a lot more of a volatile top 4 because the teams that we thought were going to go through didn't quite make the mark.
Yeah, I mean, one of the teams that didn't make even the playoffs was Cringe Society. They have made playoffs today. They're down in bracket C at the moment. But our first bracket up is actually Ground Zero versus Renegades. This should be an interesting one. Renegades has been struggling for the last little while. If you got any predictions for me there?
Yeah, it's interesting because my predictions at the beginning of the day was going to be Renegades up in that top 2, but they haven't seemed to have form. I have a feeling that the Christmas break's not been really kind to most of the teams because I know just from talking to a few people, scrims are really hard to come by, and you know when you're kind of warming back up after that Christmas break, that New Year's break, obviously some of your structure, maybe some of your efficiency does go out the window, but I'm hoping that since last week was a little bit unpredictable, that this week our stronger teams will shine. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, like you said, Renegades being one of your predictions for top 2 today. Same for me. I actually, Renegades have had a little bit of a iffy week last week, but I figured it's RLO. Anything can happen, especially when you're the Renegades. I put Renegades as my number 1 prediction, but I also put Ground Zero as my second prediction. That's already out the window because our first matchup today is Ground Zero versus Renegades. They didn't have a great last game in the group stages. If you're the community casts by either Yummy or Max Formal, definitely some upsets there. One team dropping out entirely due to connection issues, and then Renegades, I think, dropping to Team Fenrir there as well, fairly substantially. So, yeah, looking at their performance is going to be interesting throughout this next match.
Yeah, this match could definitely be a grand final match. It's very unfortunate that they happen to be rostered in the same bracket because, these teams do fight really, really strongly. They're always considered to be one of the top 2 teams in our region. So having them fight so early on definitely impacts their weeks going forward because obviously the points do get distributed based on where you finish. And, there's no second chance here. So someone's going to be walking away in a 4th place and potentially losing a lot of points here.
Yeah, well, when you're looking at Ground Zero, who historically have been fantastic throughout the winter season, obviously not winter for Australia, but winter throughout the Rocket League scene, generally being that it's an American esport, yeah, it's very different for Ground Zero to have to go against somebody who maybe is having even issues at this point, I guess. Ground Zero is expected to do extremely well with that history on their side, and they have already been doing very, very, very well. ESL, they showed up and won flawlessly there, so Ground Zero, huge expectations there, and maybe a little bit of even a question mark on Renegade's side. So we expect this to be an even match, but with recent history, it may actually not be. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I reckon it's going to be which team has had the best, preparation, who's done the most work, who's gone back to look at where they fell short last week to make adjustments this week. So it's going to be a real tale of who is going to put the work in to try and get past this next stage because, like you said, these two are the 2 juggernauts that, clash quite regularly. And it depending on obviously when they do clash, obviously one does move further away from the other. Recently we've seen Ground Zero be a little bit stronger than Renegades, but Renegades still has that consistency. They've been the most consistent roster for a very, very long time with 0 changes to their roster, where Ground Zero's had a lot more. So it's going to be, I honestly can't put my hand on this one whether Ground Zero or Renegades going to take the lead.
And of course, taking into consideration Renegades was playing with a sub last week as well. Anyway, moving on, we've talked enough about Ground Zero and Renegades for now. We will see them in a moment. Let's have a look at the general rankings for everybody. Let's take a look at that. Looking at our top... what's that? I don't even know. We've got so many even placements here. Having a look at these top teams from the Direwolves down to the Renegades at the bottom of that green section there at the top. Direwolves at the top right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously looking at Direwolves and Solicit being, one of the teams that kind of broke through, who, probably wasn't expected to get to where they did, but obviously having a good run and a couple of other factors, like you said, internet issues for Ground Zero and Renegades having a sub, obviously very, very fortunate week for them, but now it's a situation they need to hold that lead. They've got a really good start. They're 20 points clear of pretty much everybody else except for the Direwolves, so they can really try and grind for that. And then now that Direwolves have to, just hold that lead, play solidly, know that the team is very mechanical and very creative. They just need to put everything together on the day.
Solicit being number 2, you mentioned haven't made it into the playoffs this week. I was asked earlier yesterday that who I would put in my top 2. I almost wanted to say Solicit. I love seeing newer teams that I haven't experienced as much, but Solicit was doing really, really well. Came in second last week, but haven't made it this time. This time around, all of the big boys are here, and we've got 2 of them right now, starting up in 3 seconds.
Yeah, the first game is going to be Ground Zero on the blue side, and Renegades on the orange. Obviously, Kami, Siki, and CJ. CJ for Renegades, Amphis, Torsos, and Express for Ground Zero. So already a couple of pot shots here for the Renegades, just starting to put that pressure on early.
Kami on this now. It's good to see them with this aggression. It means that they possibly haven't let their previous loss affect their momentum too much, their mindset coming into this. They have their confidence on them and are looking to start this in a big way. CJ can't quite push it through though, and Torsus comes back, bumps Kami, but Siki will be able to recover in time and hits that well high Amphis down to CJ.
I'm liking the rotations here from Ground Zero. They're rotating pretty efficiently at the moment. They're controlling the space and the ball quite well, and that's leading them to keep this constant pressure.
Express now out to midfield. Amphis is there to take it. Going to send it high as CJ gets onto that backboard. The defense is there already. It's good to see this going back and forth. It is the kind of game, at least in this opening minute, that you do expect out of these 2 teams. Fairly even, but both of these teams do seem to be being cautious right now. Possible shot! Torsos will make it work, as just defense is not available.
I think Torsos here did a bit of a mind play here as well. He feathered that boost really nicely to create the illusion that he had boost to work with. That's why you saw both the Renegades players dive into that top corner, and then he just let the ball drop. So a bit of a mind game there, but great execution from Torsos.
Kickoff goes to Siki. Torsos now downfield as CJ gets up on this. Now, stubs that out on the wall as Amphis takes control. Backboard, Torsos will send it up high and take control himself. It's a good way of making sure that nobody else can get a hand to that, but it does eventually go back to the Renegades side for control.
Ooh, nice bump there by Amphis. Took the dribble away from Siki, but the pressure's still on for the Renegades. Torsos tries to make that touch, does get it, but Siki again in a great spot, trying to get that in the field, but can't quite get it, but the pressure's still there for Renegades. They take a shot, a nice block by Express. It is a little bit open. He tries to get past when he got it. He faked out Kami, and that should be the goal for Torsos. And Ground Zero have broken away with a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, second goal going to Ground Zero. And starting to pull away with a little bit of confidence. Still 3 minutes left in this though, so they can't let it rest just there. But it is a good start, and it's got the ball rolling for them. Renegades now have to be looking at this and making sure that they don't make the mistakes that they did in their last series.
Ooh, that almost trickled in there by Express. Again, pressure just being mounted here by Ground Zero. Very good control of the field. You're seeing Renegade just being pushed back a little bit more comfortable with their rotation, trying Ground Zero to keep this heavy attack.
Kami demoed may open up the field a little bit here as Kami gets back in time, gets up there, clears it out. Amphis now will send that across to Express, goes to backboard. Torsos maybe mistiming that squishy save a little, but doesn't matter as his teammates cover for that. Up to the backboard again, actually a defensive touch this time as The pressure does mount on ground zero, but doesn't look like it's enough. Kami's actually going to have to run back and reset with this as the pressure switches sides.
There was a good opportunity here for Renegades, but they're just unfortunately not able to control the ball as well. And like I said, ground zero controlling the field very, very well. Anthus, great early challenge there to strip the ball away from Renegades, and that allowed Torsos to get that third.
Yeah, great stuff out of ground zero so far. They've been very consistent as a team, and it looks like they're going to be able to keep it up. They've just been unfazed so far, even when in the face of some quite a substantial pressure from Renegades starting to come on again now as Siki passes off that backboard. Kami available, will send it in. A bump on Express, but blocks CJ in that process. Now CJ trying to open up the goal, is able to do so as Siki finally makes the first goal happen for Renegades with a minute 44 left on the board.
Some great chaos there for the Renegades. It was not a very clean play, but they managed to maximize that. CJ, great awareness to turn there and give that 1-on-2 situation for Siki. There almost was a block there, but Siki has just placed it well enough to get in.
Very even kickoff here, could go either way. Kami will make good use of it. It was actually an open net, he just went a little bit too narrow for that missed goal, and now it's back on the defense for Renegades. Good shot, blocked by CJ away now. Torsos takes it to the wall. Gonna look to pass that in. Express, good shot, and Siki will come across the top half of that goal. Make a great save there. Good opportunities opening up now for Renegades. Another great touch just wide off that top corner, and possibly the attack starting to falter again for Renegades now.
Siki still has the ball moving forward. This is a good opportunity. They just need to try and collect this boost and stop the ball from getting halfway. We see that with Kami. Gets to Siki, puts on the back, trying to get that redirect, but can't quite get it. And now time and space has been given to ground zero. They're going to try and put a shot on. Anthus nearly sneaking that one away, but Torsos will actually keep the attack going.
Kami in behind Express. Pinches out to Siki. Good play. Not sure it was perfectly calculated, but you have to expect it when the players are this caliber. They can do something like that consistently, and Siki makes it look good.
He made it look very, very good. Right place, right time, but a bit unfortunate there for Express to catch the ball the way he did. He probably wanted to have it move forward rather than stop and kill all its momentum, so just a bit unfortunate there, but still a 1-goal lead for ground zero with 30 seconds on the clock, so definitely plenty of time for Renegades, but they'll have to play carefully ground zero because Renegades are looking to pounce.
Torsos now coming off that backboard. Good control, but Siki will read him well. Actually an open net opportunity. CJ can tap it down, but Express is available. Nobody to cover it after that point, and Siki can sink it well.
Yeah, just unfortunate. Then demo actually going in favor for Renegades, and Anthus could not get back to that rotation, and it's that chaotic play from Renegades that really works in their favor.
Going very well now for Renegades, able to even this up. Looks like maybe they've been able to identify what their problem was and pick something here, but first game looking as even as you would hope these two teams would be. Siki, another shot, actually makes it work with 2 seconds left on the clock. Renegades go up by 1.
Siki is coming out huge in this match. He's got 4 goals to his name, definitely showing why he got put down as the MVP for an RLCS season a few seasons back. Super, super clutch moment there, stealing the lead away with 2 seconds.
Our Renegades' huge first win after a disappointing start to that match. Just came back in such a massive way, able to get that bumping pressure out there and really open up that net a little bit more. The setups became good. Little bit of misfortune there for ground zero as well. Did contribute, of course, but Renegades definitely pushing back in a big way.
Oh, huge. Considering that ground zero was able to take a very strong early lead, Renegades just keeping that aggression, trusting their formation, and not changing too much. And that really contributed to how they were able to bounce back. You saw Siki, again, I pointed out, 4 goals from 6 shots. Super efficient with his scoring. But he did have a lot of support there. There's a couple of demo goals that did work out in his favor. And that brilliant last shot at 2 seconds just to seal the deal.
Yeah, just getting that 2-second remaining goal there did confirm it for Renegades. I'm sure they'll be coming into this one with a lot more confidence than they had in that last one. They definitely started trying to look strong, but it did crumble fairly early there for Renegades. They brought it back, and now they should be able to come into this one with the real deal. And a good win there to bring it through.
Already they're picking up where they left off, taking the possession early. That was a good pass there by Express. Amphis a little slow on the touch, so now Renegades can set up a very dangerous attack, although pass was a bit heavy. Siki having to do a lot of work to make it work for his team, and it will eventually get cleared out.
Double commit makes an awkward opportunity there for Ground Zero. They'll be able to take it well as all three members of Renegades scramble to try and get back to that goal in time. Nobody able to get there, and Torsos just threads the needle in. That's not the way that Renegades wants to start this second match.
Definitely not started the same way it did in the first, but we know that they were able to come back, so still good signs for them. I do want to give a little trivia point here. We've only had 2 goal scorers, one for each team, Torsos and Siki, scoring every single goal in this series so far.
Ooh, Kami trying to get that spike down the goal off the pass from CJ. Really good setup there. Difficult thing to make work though. Siki, opportunity is Express, just comes through in time. Off the backboard now. Amphis puts it to safety and takes it himself up the wall. Trying to get it over Siki, does so with some aplomb as Kami comes through now. Tries to get that as it bounces off wall, can't quite get there in time. CJ now. Express, up the wall to Amphis. Back looking for Torsos. Kami can get there first though, and it will settle in midfield once again.
Some really good passing plays here for Ground Zero. They're trying to be creative. The one thing that gets me a little bit worried is how often they're trying to catch and control the ball. We're seeing Renegades being super aggressive. They're challenging these balls really quickly. I don't think it's going to be too grateful for them to try and catch and control this ball too often.
CJ just feathering that boost nicely. Kami will come into this. It's going to go up. Come down well. Torsos takes control brilliantly though. Looking to get this past CJ. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but CJ does very, very well to make use of his positioning there. Torsos up, looking for the double touch. Actually has the angle, but Siki's there too early for him.
Oh, Amphis! Yes! Let's go, Amphis taking advantage there. Express just running out of boots at the last second, but that was enough to cause Renegades to stay on the ground flat-footed. You see CJ trying to go for that squishy save, did not have the read on what was happening, and was exploited by Amphis.
Yeah, Amphis really making use of the opportunity presented, and now, once again, this scoreline looking very similar to Game 1. However, you don't want to be in Renegade's situation where you have to pull off that comeback each match. They're going to want to get onto this early while there's still only a 2-point lead here and negate that quite quickly.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Ground Zero got to keep in their mind is they had the lead in Game 1. Now they have to try and hold the lead here in Game 2. If they get too advantageous, if they try and push too much, they could potentially be vulnerable to a really strong Renegade's execution.
Amphis, good control, loses it just at the last moment, almost able to redirect it in though off that pass from Express. Amphis up again now. Kami, good defense, will take that out from the corner. Gets another touch to Siki. Siki might be able to center here. 2 players up though. This is a dangerous position for Renegades to be attacking from. I know they need to make gains on this 2-0 deficit, but not the way to do it.
Yeah, you have to be careful when overcommitting. Luckily, Ground Zero did not have a lot of boost and now coming back from rotation. So that is the time when you want to press. You want to try and lock this ball in your half. But you can see that Ground Zero being really good at executing their clears to try and clear this attack.
Express. Big boom downfield. Torsos tries to take a shot, goes a little high, comes off backboard. Still the attack is on. Flip reset doesn't really do much for Express there. Siki will get it actually past Amphis, looks for the 50. This could be the setup that Renegades needs to turn this around. CJ with the pass in. Express will get that first though, and carries that back out to the midfield.
Amphis continuing the play, but Kami's there, well read. CJ, long clear, but he's just giving away possession to Torsos. Siki is trying to put a dunk in. It does manage to get one, but Express, again, there and waiting. Ground Zero doing really well on the defensive rotations. Even Torsos there, great second touch to push that forward, and the demo comes through. Beautiful play.
We saw the bump plays come out of Renegades last match, but not so much out of Ground Zero. Tried to take that game very cleanly. The demo is forced out of them this time to make sure that they can continue gaining on that lead, and it works well for them. Opens up the net very, very nicely on that right-hand side and just used beautifully.
Yeah, it's one thing that I always try and point out is not to pull yourself out of the play completely. You see, Torsos didn't have a chance to get a touch on the ball, but still made an offensive play by getting that bump or demo. So you need to be really aware of that when going for those rotations.
Sicky now. Takes it slow, actually gets it past Amphis, and really nice play there to make use of what looks like possibly an error coming off that wall there, but doesn't turn out that way. Kami now looking for the pinch clear as the pressure continues from this very dominant Ground Zero team this game. With 20 seconds left on the board, it seems like it should be undoable for Renegades to come back this time around, and maybe Ground Zero just finding the redemption from that first game that they needed.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this game has been a massive tell of what's to come. You know, they had 3 goals in the last game, but they weren't able to work defensively as efficient as what Renegades were towards the end. This time round, though, defense on point, striking still well executed, a little bit more evenly split here as well. We saw each member getting a goal, and that's a really good team spread, a lot more team-oriented play.
Yeah, Express being the main defender there, 3 saves on that though, but in saying that, so much midfield play there, really a lot of possession change going on that game, but all of the usable possession going to Ground Zero quite quickly. It's definitely a good sign for them in this series, but it is an even series at this point, so they're going to have to work harder than they have so far to continue that lead to rise up over Renegades in this series.
Now, one thing we have to mention, everybody, is it is a best of 5. So now with an even scoreline, there are only going to be at most 3 matches playing. So this next win could potentially be a crucial one because it moves that team into match point, and that's a very dangerous situation, especially against these 2 teams who are very, very strong competitors.
Coming in, Torsos reads him well and blocks. Will take that boost in midfield as the ball comes down. Kami can't quite find the touch to center that, or maybe redirect it himself as it goes back out to midfield. Amphis chasing Kami over him. Out to Sicky. Good play. Could come down into a good position, but Kami can't quite get the touch he needs to center that.
Oh, great cut there by Torsos. That was going to be a dangerous shot there by CJ, but Torsos, one thing that he's really known for is having that awareness on when to cut and when to put that pressure on, and he saved Ground Zero there.
Absolutely, and it would have actually been the first goal to come out of Renegades as the first of a game, so good to not let that stat go, I guess, from the Ground Zero side as well. So Amphis now going to get under this as Kami takes control of that ball. Sicky, maybe not the communication, doesn't matter as that just floats downfield, comes in looking harmless, but with nobody able to get back in time. That's going to be the first goal going to Renegades.
It's a bit unfortunate there because you don't expect a shot to come as direct as what Kami went for. You normally expect a long clear down the line and then your teammate to try and come through. So there's good awareness by Kami to go for the shot instead of the pass.
Absolutely right. I especially don't expect it at this level where you see these players having to work so hard to get these goals, something like that. Torsos using his mechanics, reading that backboard beautifully.
That was insane. The speed that he had to travel at to beat Sicky to the first play. Then he read the roof bounce off the backboard. Well done by Torsos. Brings his team back after conceding the goal.
Now Sicky looking to go for another one quite early. Tries to waterfall that down as Express makes the clear that was necessary to take them out of danger there. A bump on Renegades will open up the net. Opportunity arises as Sicky makes it back just in time.
That was lucky that Sicky was there because Kami did get bumped quite heavily, so he was completely out of the rotation. Unfortunately for Ground Zero, they weren't able to fully take use of that, but they are still continuing this pressure. We're seeing Express now putting on the backboard. Amphis going for bumps in goals, just causing some havoc on the goal line.
Now Kami, good touch to get that up high, but Torsos did well with it high last time. Looks like he can beat him there again as Amphis now takes that as a pass Sends it midfield. Express, great shot, just beats out CJ, and will take one back.
I was actually a little bit worried there. We had Amphis' POV there where he didn't have a lot of boost to work with. He still managed to get in the right position for that pass by Express, and just a beautiful execution on the shot.
Not the situation Renegades wanted to be in. They actually started this one on top for the first time, and now they're down by one once again. And not what they want to see at all. They wanted to keep that lead as long as they could, and it hasn't lasted all that long at all. Ziki will get that to the backboard though. Opportunities now. Amphis demoed, and that goal opens up a little. Kami will get actually a really calculated touch to the ceiling, but nobody comes up for that second touch.
Oh, Amphis putting it in a really good spot. Torsos with the follow through, and he seals the deal. Unfortunately, Siki could not get to that fast enough, and that is just a very nice team play there by Ground Zero. A little bump there by Express as well, just to put Kami that little bit further away from the goal line.
Renegades just doesn't seem to have the communication within their rotation to keep up with Ground Zero right now, and it seemed to be a fairly consistent error that Renegades has been making in the last 2 weeks, but now it's showing, and they're starting to suffer as they possibly look at going down to match point. They have 2 minutes to even this still, but Express with saves like that will make it harder.
I think the thing for Ground Zero at the moment is they're playing with full confidence. You can see the way Torsos is approaching every single one of these challenges. He's in there to win. He's playing very, very smart. You see just the way he played that last play where he got past the defender on the outside of the wall and then went for the 50 to put it in. Very smart play.
Yeah, it's definitely the mindset within Rocket League and most esports, I'd venture to say, is such a contributing factor to how games turn out, especially when they're so well matched like these two teams are. I mean, the players on these two teams know each other unbelievably well as well, so bringing positive and very confident attitude into this is definitely an advantage, and Ground Zero seems to be bringing that. They're getting peppered right now, though.
Torsos, again, just cutting in the right position at the right time. Could see the awkwardness of the play. There is a massive bump there onto Express, who was the last defender, and Renegade's able to open up for that second goal. But just bring that point back, Torsos just making a lot of plays for his team.
Finally, the communication goes right for Renegades there as well. I mean, CJ would not have gone for that if he wasn't called for. I have to believe that. The bump comes out beautifully, and CJ just nails that. Pre-jumped it well before the bump was pulled off, so the confidence within his teammates really pulling them off that goal.
Oh, that's a bit of an awkward touch there by Amphis. It forces the third man to commit, but luckily there wasn't a rotation there for Renegades to take full advantage. Nice infield pass there, and CJ does beat it out, and Siki will take control of the ball. Torsos shadowing, trying to get it past, but Siki, beautiful second effort. Unfortunately, just no one there to support from the Renegades.
It's always a little crushing to see that exchange where one player just does something so well and it cannot be followed up by a teammate. However, now they still need 2 with 30 seconds left. That opportunity closes very, very quickly if it hasn't already. Big clear downfield by Express. Kami sends it. CJ down to Siki. Good play. Should be able to score, but Express is just a miracle worker. Comes through from the side of goal there and just takes it away.
He has been defensively sound this entire series so far. He had the most saves on the field in the last match, and is again coming through with clutch saves. Unfortunately, there is one that sneaks away there from Ground Zero. Renegade just getting some sneaky angles there. Great pressure there by Siki as well, just to get that extra touch and the follow through. The man just did it all himself. They're really trying to put his team on his back.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. I mean, we haven't seen an 8-second goal off of kickoff out of Renegades so far. That's not to say it can't happen. It's definitely looking less like it is if Amphis does something like that. What is that passing play from Torsos to Amphis?
I think the question is, what is that pre-flip by Amphis?
Yeah.
And that angle, it was absolutely insane. Well played.
I don't know how you get to that first, but Amphis, the miracle worker he is, brings that home. with a 2-goal lead instead of 1. That last 8 seconds did produce a goal, but not for the right team if you wanted to see an overtime in that match.
Yeah, just a bit unfortunate for the Renegades. They started to build some momentum, but it was a little bit too late. They didn't have the opportunity to, start mounting some strong offense. Again, I want to put the point out there. Express has been a defensive monster. 10 saves out of 12 for Ground Zero. You can see on the screen right now, definitely coming in clutch with a lot of those shots, because we do see Renegades shooting quite heavily. They actually have an equal shot scoring to Ground Zero, but the biggest difference maker is Express in that backline.
I just say CJ with that game-topping 11 shots on goal right now, only 1 goal coming out of that. He's got to have some frustration on him right now, and that can really affect you going through a series of games. If you've been shooting and nothing sinks, it starts to really weigh on you, and your shot quality can deteriorate quite quickly as well, and it becomes even less likely to shoot one on target. But I mean, he has had a lot on target. It's just been Ground Zero's unbelievably good defense coming out there, and most of that, like you said, has to go to Express. Unbelievable work from him.
Yeah, you have to give credit where credit is due. A couple of those shots, if Express didn't get the touch that he did, would have been definite concedes. Renegades did have the positioning very well. They've been controlling the space of the ground very nicely as well, but Express just getting those touches that he can follow up quite quickly and move the ball into safety. Oh, what a play by Amphis.
Amphis does use the wave dash to try and get that forward, possibly over somebody. Not going to happen. Great shot by Express, will be blocked by CJ though. Some very, very high octane action happening in the first opening seconds of this one.
Yeah, definitely. And there's even a bit of a fake there that Torsos will follow through on his own. Ground Zero just at the moment adapting really, really quickly to the play.
Yeah, Siki gets bumped away from that as that fake comes out, drops down low enough and just snuck in. That's a good way for Ground Zero to start this, and they are on match point now, so if they can hold this lead, they will take the series.
Yeah, it's going to be really good for them, but for Renegades, it's still definitely not the ending. They have a lot of opportunities, but they'll need to stop the team of Ground Zero, because at the moment, they are scoring machines. Yeah,
we saw the aggression in that opening match start on the Renegades side, but now the bumps and demos are coming strong out of Ground Zero. That opened the net up wide. That was a pass and a bump in one, and works out very, very well when you can use your positioning to the absolute maximum effectiveness, and that really, really brought that goal to life.
Oh, for sure. And the one thing that I want to point out is how aggressive Ground Zero have been playing since game one. That first game, they were aggressive and to a point where they did score a lot of goals, but they weren't going for those bump plays. They weren't going for those really game-changing rotations. Now they're adjusting really nicely, and Renegades haven't caught up, unfortunately.
Now Renegades looking to bring this back by 1. Almost a pinch there as Siki and CJ getting in each other's way a little bit, actually. Siki now up, looking for that backboard. A little bit of a slow touch. We'll let Torsos get to that quite quickly. CJ now can take that out to midfield. Should go to Kami. Does. Actually bounces well. Could have been a shot if Torsos had not gotten that quickly. Siki again out to the corner. Great touch, will center, but just these slow centers not working for Renegades right now.
Yeah, their rotations don't really equip themselves enough to be in that position to get those passes. We're seeing them having the opportunities, and they will definitely take advantage of that open net. This is actually the first time that we saw a pass hit a target that was, damaging. We saw a couple of infield passes there where Renegades didn't have a body ready to receive. This time, though, Siki in a perfect position to get that goal.
We have seen Renegades take a runaway like that before, but like you said, it's that passing play that sets that one apart. The infield pass, upfield pass, I should say, maybe. Siki will even the game with a second one, though. Actually, some really good pressure on from Renegades off of that kickoff. Kami centering that beautifully. CJ comes through for the demo, and just all 3 members of the team working very hard for that one.
I wonder if I've unintentionally cast a cursed hit, because I feel like I said that they weren't being aggressive, and now we're seeing a lot of demo plays, a lot of bump plays coming out of Renegades, and we're starting to see those labors pay fruit. We're starting to see them have a lot more success.
Always happens. It is the caster's curse, but you have to assume that once you get to the levels these players are at, they can identify the mistakes that they're making and try and make fixes at the very least. But oh my goodness, how does Amphis get this angle off the bump and the pass? What is happening to Ground Zero?
That, you can't even put that into words. The timing is so lucky. And I'm going to use lucky here rather than fortunate, because Amphis had no intention of going for a shot there. His entire gameplay was, I need to get a bump, I need to cause some confusion, but then he just falls in the right place at the right time and gets the breakaway goal again.
Yeah, I mean, I said pass. It might have been a bit of a loose terminology there, but Amphis, what a shot. When he was given the opportunity, he was able to make the most out of that and does bring Ground Zero up again and put them in position to win the series, but there's still half a game left, and they're only up by 1. They need more than this, as finally Renegades seem to pose more of a threat than maybe they have in the last 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very interesting. This game 4 is so volatile, and you can see both teams fighting tooth and nail for this, because it means so much. Obviously, for Renegades, they need to get this game to push it to Game 5, and for Ground Zero, they're going to knock out a huge portion of the competition in the quarterfinals.
CJ and Express just playing ping pong back and forth there a little bit. Siki will get that bump on CJ, will cost them possession as Amphis gets that up to Torsos. Good pass infield to Express, but that'll go very high out to CJ, and Kami should be able to continue that clearing out downfield.
Torsos taking the ball, moving it upfield. He's going to actually wait and drop it on the ground, which is a nice choice. Nice pass there, but Amphis a little bit too eager to get that infield. And this is where Ground Zero now. We're going to try and capitalize on some opportunities. Nearly Express pulling out some mechanical goodness, but it does get saved by CJ. They still have the pressure, though. You can see Torsos trying to go for infields just to create that separation from him and the Renegades.
That backboard shot showing that Ground Zero isn't afraid to go for those solo plays either. They've been fantastic as a team. Almost gets the bump. Amphis only barely getting to that. That was an opportunity for Renegades that just couldn't quite be taken. CJ smacks that away from danger. They were in it, and now, once again, with 48 seconds, the pressure's on for Renegades to get that 1 goal.
Yeah, this is probably the closest they've been in terms of the scoreline for quite some time. We saw in the last 2 games there was a much larger scoreline that they had to try and get back into. This one is right in their grasp. They have 30 seconds. They have possession. They just need to try and make a play now. See, CJ, unfortunately, giving away possession there. It does allow Siki to come through, but this is where Renegades need to try and put something on.
Kami trying his best to get that to a center, but a little bit too much as he gets to that and booms it high. Now he has possession again in his own corner. Will carry this out himself. Good pass downfield. CJ went for the bump instead of to take that pass, and now with 5 seconds left, possession on the side of Ground Zero. They need something to change. It will not, and Ground Zero will take our final game.
I have something that I think I've figured out for the Ground Zero boys, and why they're so good is one key word, and that is recovery. The one thing that I'm seeing from Ground Zero, their recoveries, the way they're able to keep themselves relevant as they're recovering is top notch, and that's what's really separated them from the Renegades. Is a perfect example is Amphis. He recovered into a position where the ball fell into his lap for a goal, and we've seen Torsos do the same thing, where he looks completely out of the play, but he's recovered enough just to get that second touch.
Gotta say, Renegades doing quite well with their 2 goals, considering they only had 3 shots for that entire game. Ground Zero taking a lot more than that. Let me count that up. I think that's 9 shots for that game, and only 3 goals out of it. So they've done extremely well to bring that game so close, but it wasn't enough. Ground Zero has done unbelievably throughout this entire series. You talked about the recoveries. I think you're absolutely right. Renegades didn't make an enormous amount more mistakes than Ground Zero, but they weren't able to reposition when they made them quite as quickly. They weren't able to get back and cover themselves, and possibly just costing them that series there. Unbelievable series regardless, and looking forward to more of Ground Zero. They have been huge in the winter series so far, and looking like they will be again.
Well, the thing to kind of factor in is last week they were out from technical issues. It wasn't even so much, being beaten in the game. They just weren't able to play. Like, they weren't able to show up. So this is them just proving that, when they are at full strength, they are a force to be reckoned with.
Yep, and they were at full strength today. It was a close matchup, and Renegades, especially within the RLO scene, you never know what's going to happen with Renegades. Yeah, Ground Zero, so strong today, but we'll see more of them later tonight. But for now, we will take a short break and be back with you for the next series.